Welcome to Meaningful Moves, the stories behind confident selling and purposeful buying. In each episode, we will share real-life experiences from clients and partners, offering behind-the-scenes look at buying, selling, and collaborating with purpose.
I'm blessed to be able to have done that and to walk out with such good results where you feel really good about the situation. There's to be expected high emotion. Therefore, my focus is helping them stay grounded. I'm Brandy and I am the founder of Legacy Home Strategy and Meaningful Moves podcast with the stories behind confident selling and purposeful buying. And today we have Adriana with us, and she is one of my clients that has definitely become friends. And we're going to talk about the first transaction we've had together. So, Adriana, thank you so much for being here with me. Actually, just a little backstory. Adriana and I were having a conversation about the house that she's actually in right now, which was one of the first transactions together. And some situations arose, but as we were talking, got pretty excited and realized that how cool it would be to bring real life testimonies to the table right here, not just in writing, but right here where you hear from my clients personally and from affiliates that I work with who help with the transactions and other people in the industry. So, Adriana, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I feel privileged, that you even asked me to do this. So thank you.
I'm so excited. My cheekies are hurting. So the first question, what was your situation like before working with me?
So
Life in that time.
I was in this, I think weird, I don't know if weird's the right way, a transitional period in my life. Let's say that, where the youngest had, was getting ready actually when we started looking for a home, was getting ready to graduate. And it was, at that time we didn't have to look for a home that was what meets a family's needs. It was, what do we want in this next journey, and what is going to make us happy, and where do we want to be? So it was all about us, which was really odd, as a parent, because I think as a parent, you're always like, okay, the kids come first, the kids come first. And I was always last on the rung. I always placed myself there. So it was this exciting time, yet very transitional, and trying to figure out, like, who was I, who was he, who are we as a couple, and we get this new exciting journey that we get to take together. And for us, a home was included in that.
What made you decide to move forward with buying?
There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of talking about, should we stay where we're at? Should we move? Should we not? And there was a lot of perusing online and trying to figure out, like, could we actually find what we wanted? Um, but it came down to, where do we want to be, and what do we want to do? Um, and what's going to make us happy, at least what do we think is going to make us happy, and a home that was ours together and we could make our own, just the two of us, was really exciting to both of us. So that was huge for us. We could have stayed where we were at, no problem. There was nothing wrong with that home. It was wonderful, had plenty of space, but we really, for instance, for Grant, he wanted a shop. That had been his life dream. And so for me, I was like, I want to give that to him. um,
Yeah.
and so it was this new, exciting journey. And we were like, all right, let's take the leap. We're going to take a leap of faith here.
I remember that was a huge part of your reason was to get Grant that shop. That was like an overflow part of your heart that you were determined to manifest and have happen. And that was so neat to witness. It was so neat to see how it fell into place, to see how your desires were coming to pass and making that happen.
Well, and I don't know if you remember, but in the beginning, we were like, we don't even really care about the house. Like, if a house comes along with it, great. It
Yeah,
was like, we can have a little one bedroom shack on the side of the shop. Like, the shop was the big focus.
yeah.
Um, and then we just got so lucky to be able to have this beautiful home that came with it. That for me, I was like, oh, I can do this or I can do that. And it was like, Andy gets his shop. So it was just kind of like it was meant to be.
How did the process go once we started working together for you?
I think the first thing that I noticed, when we were just sitting down talking with each other was how informational you were. And that just like speaks to my being because I am all about education and just like understanding what's going to come next. And you were so thorough with, okay, here's this document, here's what it means to you. And sure, I'd probably read a million of those because this was like the sixth house I was buying in my, 30 years. But to have somebody who like went through the steps and not gonna lie, some of it was cumbersome. Buying a home is not easy. Otherwise, everybody would do it every day.
Yeah.
Um, but to have somebody there to like walk you through it and um, be there like non-judgmentally and just be like, I get it. This is super confusing. You've looked at this document 3 times with me alone, but here's what it says again. And just willingly to again judge non-judgmentally do that. Um, and explain things a million times every time I needed it to be explained again.
That's something that I have also found valuable when before even getting into real estate, um, also being a homeowner previously, uh, learning. I'm a type of person, I like to make sure I understand, and I'm also I come from a background where I was undereducated for a long time, and so and then you become the butt of the joke per se, right? And
Yeah.
so I learned to use that to be able to be very patient and understanding and explaining things and realizing I discovered that though I may be explaining it one way and it be very clear that way, if that person is not interpreting it that way, I need to learn to communicate it another way. And so being able to offer, hey, if this isn't making sense, let me know. We'll try it again. Has become such an important thing to me. Communication is a value of mine to know how to communicate, to listen and figure out how to get the message right. I actually learned to do that with my kids because of real estate. Learning these skills in real estate, I was able then to bring it home and practice with my kids. And I don't mean like I'm going to practice with my kids, but like I started questioning, going, okay, they're not getting what I'm saying. And instead of being irritated or frustrated as a mom could get, going, well, how can I try this again? How can I try to explain it to where they're understanding it? And so the skills that I've learned so far being a mom, I've been able to bring into my workplace, but also what I've been learning in my workplace, I get to bring home. And it has been a place of conversion to where it's been an abundance of blessings on both ways. And so thank you for bringing that up because that's actually something very personal to me. And I appreciate that. So next, how did the process go once we got started working together?
You'd think by the sixth house that this would be old hat for me. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, Brandy, I got this. I could teach this. Not so much. Each home is so different. And I think, again, where we were in our lives played a huge role in it as well. Um,
You'd
but
never been where you were at during that
no,
time.
no,
Yeah.
no. So it's kind of like, you almost forget, okay, yes, I've seen this document before. Oh, okay, yes, we're gonna have an inspection. Okay, we're gonna do this. Don't get your hopes up. All of those things you've learned in the past. Um, but it's different. And each home or each transaction, of a home it's different. It brings different things to the table, different emotions, different education. Um, it's just it's just different. And, um, I mean, I felt like you were very upfront, even though you knew my history with the homes that I had purchased. You didn't let that derail you as far as abbreviating any of the information you gave me. It was like, okay, here's what's going to happen next. Here's what happens with the offer. And you were very, again, communicative. It was, here's what I've heard. Here's what's happening. Here's the next step. And all the way through from start to finish. It wasn't just, okay, I'm going to lock you guys in with this great customer service and then it's going to trail off. It was from start to finish. And to be honest, I mean, even now, as we update you like, hey, we're doing this with the house, or we're doing that, or here's this issue. It continues. And that again is something that I value, and that I look for. So I think, while there were probably times I would have been pulling my hair out and would have been, oh my gosh, why am I doing this again? I can definitely look back and say, no, those were the things that made the difference.
What's life like now after the move?
We are a little over 2 years being in this home, and we're not where we thought we would be. That's the great thing about, goals in life is they throw monkey wrenches into them. And um,
And
it
you've had some
we
major,
have we've had some doozy monkey wrenches like
yeah.
oh my goodness. Um, how I'm sitting here having this conversation with you, I would have been like, Brandy, you're crazy. That will never happen. um, but it it feels good. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. We had this lull after moving in. It was like this, okay, you're focusing on unpacking and we want to do this. And at the same time, ours was unique because we did that reno loan on the shop, that we were building out the shop at the same time. And so I think that encompassed most of our like time and effort and kind of emotions. Um, and then had some pretty big things happen personally in our lives and had to really focus on that. And you were there for that as well. Um, and we're now in this kind of space in our life where it's like, okay, all those things that we were like, oh, it's got good bones. We can do this. We can do that. Um, we're there. We're doing, and it feels really good. It feels like we've earned it.
Yes.
Just
You have.
knowing the backstory and everything, like we've earned this, like, dang it, like this is exciting. Like as we sit here and talk, they are mudding and taping and getting ready to paint the shop, and it's like almost there. And like I mentioned, new floors are going in. My house is a wreck at the moment, but it's like so exciting, and all the things that we kind of talked about, that yeah, it just feels good. I don't know any other phrase or way to say it.
So awesome. And you mentioning the reno loan and the process of the reno loan, that one was adventurous in itself.
Yes.
You got to do the reno loan when it first came out. And so you were amongst the first to be doing it here in Wasilla, Alaska, where we were at. And I was amongst the first of learning how to go along with it. So we actually got to learn the program together. And while you were getting your whole focus on the shop and finding the right place and then getting a beautiful home in the process. And she's got a beautiful property, like the whole lot. And she got chickens. She wanted chickens. And they
I
came.
did.
The
Remember,
chicken coop.
I didn't even know there was a chicken coop. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like the icing on the cake for me.
Yep. Yep. That was so. I remember when you lit up with that and you were like, oh, yes. You weren't
Grant,
too sure
not so
how
much.
Grant could handle it.
Not so much for him, but for me, I was like, oh, it's already there. Now you don't even have to build one.
You're like, you got the shop, I got the coop.
Yep.
Nice. I remember that. That was a really joyous moment. I was so tickled about it. I was like, ooh. I went home and I was just thinking about that. Like, that was so cool that day when we discovered that.
Everything
The
happens for
other
a
thing,
reason.
so the other conversation I don't know. I think I guess I want to sit here for a second, if you don't mind, in talking about the whole process of um, from homes that you've purchased before, how every situation you had a different life going on, a life dynamic, family dynamic, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then with this family dynamic, your kids are grown,
Mm-hmm.
and now you get to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
And then you get to, you got some dreams that you focused on, plus you got, the thing you didn't even know you were going to have, which was the chicken coop. And then being empowered to be able to be creative even now while walking through stuff. I think it is, I'm just so blessed and honored to be able to be here with you, walking through it, to have met you. How we met was actually, how did we meet?
My sister-in-law is a mortgage originator, and I said, I need a real estate agent. I need one in the Valley because my agent in Anchorage, who I had used for 20 years, had moved into the mortgage origination arena as well. And you were the first name she came up with. She was like, call her. She's like, I love working with her. I love working with her clients. Her clients are always happy. I think you'll really, enjoy her. And she couldn't have been more right. It's like she handpicked somebody for me, knowing, okay, that's my sister-in-law. Yeah, these two are going to do good things together.
Oh, yes. Her sister-in-law and I, we actually met in the beginning. Both of us started real estate at the same time before she got into mortgage lending. We both started at a company together at the same time learning, and that's how we met. So, and she met me when I was pregnant with which one is Ocean? Ocean is my number. Wow. He's 11. No, 10. I have 12, just saying, but and I should know by the numbers. But she met me after. No, he was number 9. Sorry, number 9. Ocean. I always say he was born on the 11th, so I think the movie Ocean's 11. That's what I'm like. Which number is he again? And he's 11 right now. So she met me when I was having my number 9, and we were both in real estate. Very different lives, very, very different lives, and but got to come together in the realm of real estate. And since then has been such a blessing to be able to be referred to her family and be trusted with family. That is like the best compliment ever, is when I'm being referred, and it's being referred even to friends and family. People are like, hey, I'm trusting you with what's precious to me, who I value. And that is a part of who I am, and part of who my call is too, is I love meeting people right where they are, and I take it very serious, as you know. And so I've just been so blessed to be a part of your journey, and that you let me in on it, and said yes to me working with you, and we're still here. We're here. So thank you.
No, I'm the one who feels blessed. Um, it it could have been very different, and it wasn't, and there's a reason for that, and I just don't question it. I just go with it. And like you say, the fact that we're still here, you've helped us with another home at this, even after the purchase of this one, and I still call you and go, Brandy, this is going on with the house. Or, what do you think about this? I just want your opinion. that that speaks, volumes. And I don't even do it so much as an agent. I'm just like, hey friend, what do you think?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
I think I've
Yep.
typed that in a couple of texts too, like, hey, not as an agent, but just like as a friend. What do you
Yeah.
think about this?
What do you think of this? Yes. Yep. And that's been, I'd say, one of my biggest privileges and most rewarding things as well with relationship and friendship with you, is being able to go from strangers and referral to walking through. You had a lot going on in life, from your kids growing up to relationship changes to dynamics that were everywhere, and picking houses and having freedoms, and being able to just rejoice in different ways, and then later other life situations. And so um, it's been the life journey that we wouldn't have necessarily walked through, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
if it hadn't been for real estate.
Hmm.
um, Thank you for the story. Like some of the things you just said, like I'm gonna be thinking about this all week. I'm like, wow, how powerful and empowering. Like I want you empowered, and you have no idea how much that just empowered me to go, whoa. Like what I do matters.
It does. I mean, it could I was as I was looking through the questions, I was kind of like, what was it? I've got my questions right here because I was like, okay, I got to have them to refer to. Um where was it? Oh, so you had the question on there. Can you share a moment when you felt supported or guided in a way that made a difference? And I thought about it and I was like, okay, when I thought, really? Yeah, I'm just going to read you what I wrote
Yes.
and I'm going to send you this because I want you to see my answers. But I put, honestly, anytime an issue came up, Brandy was there with a solution. While it didn't necessarily take away the emotion, the surprise, or the frustration, very quickly options were presented on how to mitigate whatever the issue was. You did 99% of the legwork on those issues for us. And it was, our minds are blown. Something comes up and we're like the mold issue. All I heard was worst case of mold he had ever seen. And I was like, okay, I just lost this house. I just lost all this time. I'm screwed. I have to start all over again. Those are the things going through my mind. And all I heard you say was, give me a second. I'll get right back to you. And that gave me time to process because I'm a processor, which I needed. And then you were like, okay, I know a guy and I've worked with him before and this is what we're going to do. And here's how it is. And like, are you good with this? I was like, yeah, wow. It was like you took everything that, like, to me was like, "Ooh, we were circling the drain." And it was going down, and it was going down quick. Yes. And I was like, "Here we are." And it was like, "Okay, she knows a guy. I don't even know what he does, but here, we're gonna bring him over. We're gonna see what he can do." And then for it to hear him say, "Okay, you know what? This is nowhere near as bad as it was portrayed. There's no way I could have gotten that same result in the amount of time without having your knowledge, your guidance, everything." And like that question stood out to me the most, that it was like, because we were a good ways into our like purchasing the home at that point. I mean, I would say we were 2/3 of the way through. And to find that out was just like emotionally crushing. It was like all these goals and dreams and such, but then it was like, "Here's Brandy to the rescue." She's got, it's like here you come riding in on a white knight, on a horse that it's like, "Wait, but I know a guy." And
Or a unicorn.
yeah, there you go. And so it was like, but that it wasn't just that was a really big issue, but it was like every little thing that came along was, I know somebody, or I have a vendor I've worked with before, I have a good relationship with. And I would ask you multiple times. I was like, "Hey, um, do I need to research this? What do I need to do?" And you were like, "Oh, well, I got this, and this. Could you do this one thing?" And I was like, I almost felt like as a home like purchaser, I was like, I feel like I should be doing more. But you were like, "Nope, I got this." And that made such a huge difference. I mean, I never expected that. That was not in my list of like, "Hey, my realtor needs to do this, and this." You just like naturally did that. And like, I'm not saying this because like we're friends or anything, but like it truly made a huge difference. And for me, I'm like, I didn't realize that's what I needed, but I'm so thankful I had you to do that because I probably would have like crumbled for a moment and been like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And then, rose from the ashes and trudged on to try and find some other home. But I just, the way you go about things is awesome. And
Now, with what you shared on that, um, would you agree that even though I was able to help, I gave you the freedom of making the choice of everything? Not me
Absolutely.
saying this is how it's going.
No,
Like I'm like, here, I exposed a bunch of opportunities and solutions, and then you got to pick, right?
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I can remember countless times where it was like, I know this person, I've got this vendor I've worked with, and I have this. Here's this, and here's kind of what would happen with each one. And then you would say, talk to Grant, let me know what you want to do. And sometimes we came back with more questions and such, but um ultimately we made all the decisions. But you just, again, it comes with that like knowledge and that education piece. You helped educate me as a homeowner, so I wasn't making knee jerk reactions and decisions that could have tanked a home purchase without that knowledge. So,
Oh,
and
love
I'll be
it.
and I'll be honest, I know, and I probably should have said this much, much sooner, but like through both of our transactions, like I owe you so much because I know, as much of an introvert as I am, I am also very type A. And when I get stressed, I get very short and I get very direct. And I don't, I sometimes let my mouth overrun like, and you handled me in a way that was so professional and so respectful and like acknowledged what I was going through, but like brought me back down. Like, hey, your head is in the clouds. You didn't say this, but your head's in the clouds right now. You need to come back down to earth. We're going to get through this. And it was just like your conversation that naturally happened. And then I would go, oh, I wasn't very nice. Like, and I would say that sometimes, I need to apologize because I was just kind of crappy, like, and so I'm sorry for all those times I was crappy or came across in a way that I shouldn't. It was not my intention, but you handled me very well. And there's not a lot of people that can say that. So thank you.
Well,
And I'm so sorry you had to deal with that side of me.
I'm blessed to be able to have done that and to walk out with such good results where you feel really good about the situation. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Adriana. I am going to go on ahead and get off.
All right.
So, thank
Enjoy your
you.
evening, and I will chat with you later. I'll send you some pictures. I'll give you like a little sneak peek, and then I'll give you better pictures when it's all done.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. I'm mean, watching for those texts, waiting for those texts, not watching, I'll wait.
Yeah. All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
All
Later.
right. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Meaningful Moves. Every story shared here reflects the real-life journeys of clients and partners I've had the honor to guide and collaborate with through confident selling and purposeful buying. If today's episode spoke to you, subscribe, share it with someone who would benefit from it, and stay connected. I'm Brandy Malkett. Now go and be a blessing because your next move matters.